Hello. I'm doing great. So we have a team of testers and evaluators with more than 2 centuries of combined experience in their field. What we do is we try and get some access to automaker proving grounds out in the desert to do the kind of testing you can't do on public roads, and that goes for a couple of weeks. We also do a lot of testing on public roads where we do the things that really, you know, maybe an owner would figure it out after about 6 months. We figure it out in about 6 minutes. So it's things like, you know, how user intuitive is the infotainment system when you have a big rig rolling along next to you? What happens with smart cruise control when, say, a larger car comes in, cuts you off? These are the kinds of things that we figure out very quickly in terms of going through our field, which this year was 81 vehicles. So it was pretty intense, and we left exhausted but proud of how we'd accomplished what we set out to do. Yeah, yeah. Okay, Motor Trend's 2019 car of the year is the Genesis G70. And you can be forgiven for not knowing what Genesis is. It's a fairly new brand. It's Hyundai's luxury brand, sort of like Lexus comes from Toyota. And it's only been out a couple of years, and it's been a rather soft launch. But what we've seen with the G70 is something much more dramatic. This is a head-on assault at the established German luxury players, the BMW 3 Series, the Mercedes C-Class, the Audi A4. This is a vehicle that is absolutely on target, and many other automakers have tried to do this and failed. This is a really a great accomplishment for a first time out the gate. The car, it rides smooth, it handles crisply, it does crazy things in unheard of times. I mean, the 3.3 liter twin turbo engine that you can get for $45,000 is a rocket. It's a huge value play. And then you get inside and it absolutely feels like a luxury car. You have these quilted diamond stitched seats. They're supple and yet reinforced for when things are really, put into performance through the paces. The infotainment system is really intuitive. It can do all sorts of things. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you name it, it does it. Yeah, it's a fantastic machine, and Genesis has done a lot of smart things. They have a lot of technical know-how at their R&D center in Namyang, Korea, but they've also hired in a lot of real pros from established brands to help guide them. So you have guys who come in from Lamborghini and Bugatti, BMW, Mercedes, you name it. Top class guys. When their concept car is built by the guy who drew the Bugatti Chiron, they're gunning for the best, and they are definitely a brand to take seriously going forward. The 2019 Motor Trend Truck of the Year is the The 2019 Motor Trend Truck of the Year is the Ram 1500. Old habits die hard. They used to be Dodge. But we're in a time when, you have Ford families, you have Chevy families, and I think both types of families should give the Ram a more comprehensive look. Let me put it this way. Heavy, full-size pickup trucks are pretty much equivalent in terms of payload and towing and what they're able to do and what they're able to haul. So then it's the next level stuff that really makes the difference. And the Ram has 3 things that really separate it from the pack. Okay, so first of all, it still has, but now is refined, it's independent rear suspension. Coil springs with optional air suspension. All the other trucks, solid axles, and they ride like it. You're hobby horsing down the road. It's at the end of a hard day of work, it's a drag. Meanwhile, you're in the Ram, it rides like a luxury sedan. It's so smooth, nothing upsets it. It's a great idea, and the trade-off in towing is so minimal, I would take that trade-off every single day. Then you get inside the Ram, and it really is a home office on wheels. You don't have to go back to the trailer to get the stuff that you need when everything is right there. Really smart storage compartments for everything under the sun. How easy it is to access, whether or not you want to lock it away from prying eyes. And then you have the infotainment system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, nav, stereo, satellite radio, climate control. It's all in one giant screen, which is crystal clear, doesn't wash out in the sun, works when you're wearing work gloves, nice. It's a really, when you're paying 50 grand, 60 grand for a pickup truck, you want it to feel like a luxury car, and this does. Final thing that's really impressive about this, the Ram is the first full-size pickup to have a hybrid powertrain. It's standard, and basically it's an internal combustion engine with a hybrid battery pack motor attached onto the side. And what that does, it just smooths out the acceleration so you don't have such jolty transmission shifts. And it also does wonders for fuel economy. Motor Trend's 2019 Sport Utility of the Year is the Jeep Wrangler, and purists everywhere are rejoicing because a lot of people have been saying, oh, it's not a real SUV if it can't do the Rubicon, and there are a lot that can't. Well, this one obviously can, and then some. Jeep spent a lot of time making it even more impressive off-road, the technology underneath to make sure you can go through a rock garden, ford a stream, you name it, it'll do it. It goes anywhere. And yet, the cool thing is, in the past, you'd get this off-road capability, but then you'd be on the drive home, and the pavement ride, not so great. A little flinty, a little jarring. Jeep guys spent extra time in the suspension testing lab to make sure that that ride home on the pavement is smooth. It's really nice. It's totally commute friendly. It's the perfect vehicle for living the urban life during the week when you work and then hitting the mountains on the weekend. It's fantastic. You get inside and a lot of people like to modify these Jeeps so that they're $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 Jeeps. You want it to feel like a luxurious experience. The seats are really comfortable. The layout of the dash is really, it's upscale looking. There's cool little Easter eggs that remind you that yes, you are driving a Jeep. And again, just like in the Ram, you get this great center screen that's huge, it's crisp, it controls everything. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, of course, work. It's just a fantastic, fantastic machine. And it shows that being a body-on-frame sport utility vehicle doesn't mean it has to ride badly. This is what crossover vehicles want to be when they grow up. Okay, well, this is an easy answer, because if you're shopping for a new car, just come to MotorTrend.com. We have a buyer's guide that not only profiles every single vehicle on the market, and you'll know everything you need to know before going out, but we also have plenty of articles about the tips and tricks of the trade so that you don't get ripped off, so that you go in educated and informed and you have the right questions to ask, and that you also know when might be the time to walk out of the dealership when you hear something that makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck. We provide all of this to you. Just go to MotorTrend.com. It's all there. And for those of you who fear the internet, we still make a magazine, so you can get that on a newsstand as well. This is fantastic. I really enjoyed myself. Thanks for having me. You too.